It's never too late to start your dreams, and my next guest is living proof of that. Let's dive into her secrets as we go beyond the take. What is up, everyone? It is me, actor, producer, and host of the show, Marc Chouen, here for another episode of Beyond the Take. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman is a dear friend of mine. I knew she was a powerhouse the moment I met her. I don't even, my God, how many years ago was that now? Let's not put a number on it. Let's just not do that. But ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the talented, the lovely actress. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Bonnie Rose.
Thank you. Thank you. What an introduction. That's wonderful. So grateful to be here. What a privilege. Thank you, Mark,
Oh
for
my God.
asking
No,
me.
no, of course. So thank you for agreeing to come on. I feel like it's been forever since we've connected in person. I know there've been times like we've run across each other at auditions, a couple callbacks, which is always a nice delight to see. And you're always, I have to say, whenever I see you in that room, you're so dialed in. Like you're so, and not saying it's not anything bad. You're so bubbly and full of life in person, but then like you're like in the zone when it comes to auditioning. And it's cool to see you like have that I guess it's just that like the switch,
Mm, the focus.
the focus. Yes.
Yes.
Where do you go? Okay, I need to know. Like when you're sitting in the room when you're waiting for your name to be called up, like where do you go in there mentally?
I get quiet, and I just kind of like, where am I? I focus on where's my feet, what's going on. I breathe, I pray, I just get centered. I don't do the chattering with, back in the day when we used to have auditions in person and tons of actors would come in and and do the bebble. I can't do the bebble beforehand because I'm going up for a job interview, so I need to be prepared and not be chitter chattering and before it. So that's always what I needed to do. It's what I still do, whether I'm self taping or whether just even preparing tonight for this. I just, where is my focus? What's in front of me? What do I need to do? So that I'm centered and present. That's the most important thing in life is to be present. It's like when you're going out to dinner with somebody and, they're on the phone and they're like,
Oh,
and, and you're sitting there with your, dish and they're not present. It's, I just find it being present is the present.
I love that. And like, isn't that the actor's gift, though? I mean, like that's part of the actor's job, I think, is staying present. I remember, I don't necessarily know your background in training, but I went to a Meisner school, Maggie Flanagan's studio. I don't know if you've heard of it,
Yeah, of course.
but Charlie Sandlin was my teacher. Fantastic guy, by the way, if you've never met him. But it was all about being present. And I remember one of the things he said, like, not only will it make you a better actor, but it's going to make you a better person as well. Because,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
it,
Hmm.
it- because as you said before, you're going out for dinner, you're hanging out, and I do notice this about you. You're dialed in on the person that you're with or the people that you're with. You're not on your phone. You're not distracted. You're not looking all around, right? You're truly in the moment. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think that's something, if because if you're present, you're listening, right?
Hmm.
And that's the actor's gift right there.
Well, it's also when you take it, a step further when whether you're auditioning, whether you're on set, when you're working, um, you I need to listen. I need
Mhm.
to be present. I need to listen so that I can respond. I did a two-year class on Meisner technique, and it was phenomenal. Back in the 90s, and
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
really phenomenal. And he studied under Sandy. I cannot believe I cannot think of his name. Ron Stetson. There you go.
Boom. There it is. There
There
it
it
is.
is. Ron Stetson.
And I think it's true though. I think it does help you be a better person. I found myself like, just nonstop listening. I think that's something that people still say about me to this day. Oh, you're such a great listener. I'm just like, well,
Mm.
that means I guess I'm a good actor.
Right.
But are you that focus that you have when you book the job. Are you like that on set in between takes? Because I know it's so easy, like, when you're sitting down, when you're with the rest of the cast, right? When I to have that back and forth, right? You have the chitter chatter, right? Or are
You,
you
you
still
know,
dialed in?
it depends. Every set is different. Everything,
Yeah.
every job is different. But for the most part, in between, I'm pretty quiet. I'm pretty staying, quiet in my lane. Also not wanting to disturb someone else,
Mm.
another
Yeah.
person who's working, it depends. It's everything is different,
You're 100% right. I feel like you kind of have to read a room. Like you can't
right?
necessarily, especially if you're not number one on the call sheet, like you kind of have to go off of like I guess the pecking order, right? Who's the highest one on the call sheet on the
Y- You
day?
know, it depends. Let's just dive in. Toe is out now, the feature
Yes.
film,
Boom.
and
That
yeah, let's boom. And working, I was working with these incredible other women actresses, Oscar winners. It was just, and in between takes, we kind of went to our chair and a little chitter chatter, not that much. Went back working. There wasn't really, I never felt to them that there was a pecking order. They never,
mm,
I did not feel, oh, you're over there. And I didn't feel that.
I've never felt that way either on a set. And I've heard stories about this, but like,
Uh,
what I meant by that, I guess, is just like by like I feel like there's an old saying about it, like, number one call sheet, they kind of dictate how the day goes, right? Like if they're an asshole, you're going to feel it, right? Everyone's going to feel it. It's not going to have that trickle down effect. But if they're positive, it's a good working environment, then that's how it's going to go. Like that, it's kind of
well, I think
contagious.
it stems from really, I, I'm, I feel very blessed, very lucky, very fortunate. I have not had that experience. I have
Same.
worked with, really grateful. That was with Stephanie Lang. I started my career because of Sidney Lumet, who discovered me well over 35 years ago. I have not. I've worked with a lot of people, and I haven't. I found them very grounded, very humble, very very kind, and very nice. So it was a nice example to set when I was number one on the call sheet with Living with Grandma.
Boom. Yeah, you work with someone I actually know, Fenice Avery, that
Oh,
wonderful person. And
I didn't
I
know you
was
know her. Oh,
yeah, we've hung out
she's
before. She
phenomenal,
it's
phenomenal. I
I
love
know
her.
she, yeah,
Really a powerhouse. I met her on Fleischman is in Trouble, in the middle of COVID. I booked an episode, and she was so phenomenal. I said, this woman's going to be like running a studio any day. And a couple of years later, she does have her own company, and she came to me with this project. Are you interested in do? And it took off. We have other things in the fire, and I cannot say enough. What a wonderful director, writer, producer, and she's a dear friend. She's a very talented woman.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Very talented.
we haven't hung out in a long time. But like, Fenice, from what I remember of her, she just always had that passion, that focus. I
Focus.
you know,
Yes,
I
very talented.
I don't believe she had directed. I think she was on her path to go into the DGA or something like that. I remember when
Oh,
we last
okay.
hung out, and like yeah, she's very passionate about filmmaking. And I thought it was so cool when I saw like that you two were working together. I see them. You're always posting. You're always talking about what you're doing. And by the way, girl, you're on fire.
Ah,
You're absolutely on fire right now.
good.
When it's crazy because it's funny because like the industry is just like we talk about it, it's just like, kind of like upside down right now. But for you, like you're making it look easy. Um,
Oh, thanks.
let and I know it ain't easy. I know it ain't easy, but there's a
Oh,
gift in making it look easy, if you know what I mean. And girl, you're doing the damn thing. So kudos to you. We'll dive into that in a second. Let me finish the thought of Fenice. But to see then eventually I did see her posting about this. I'm like, whoa, it's the same movie. You two are That's awesome. I love when people that I've like that I know I respect
Yes,
come together
yes,
without me
yes.
knowing it, and they find out that way. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. Because
I
two
didn't
people
know
I know
you
are
knew
winning.
her. That's great. That's great. Yeah, she's a wonder, and she brought this opportunity to me, and I read it, and I said, "Great, just great. What when?" And it was a pleasure. I mean, a real privilege, and working with her, and doing living with grandma. It was, as I shared with you, in the third act of my life, in the third act of, for all of this wonderful opportunities. I feel I've always been successful, and what I mean by that is that I always wanted to be an actress since I was 3. I always
Wow.
knew that. And I just one foot in front of the other. I don't give up. I just put one foot in front of the other. I didn't know anyone in the business when I started. I wasn't the daughter or the son or the aunt, nobody. And I just kept knocking on doors, as I still do, and keeping wonderful relationships with people. I met you. It was over 10 years ago that
Right.
I met you, and we.
We
I think it was 2 years ago at the Chelsea Film Festival that we bumped into each
And then
other.
oh my God, that was awesome. Yes, yes. So we met, I remember originally at a film festival. We met online at Tribeca Film Festival going to, it was some sort of casting
Oh
seminar,
wow.
I think it was. I
Oh
forgot
wow.
exactly who was doing it. But yeah, I remember we met online doing that. We were first two or three online and we just started chit-chatting. And then yeah, that's a great full circle moment. 2 years ago at the Chelsea Film Festival, I had a
Yes.
movie at the festival, and you were what were you doing? You were introducing
I
someone, right?
moderate.
You were moderating.
I
Yeah.
moderate for the Chelsea Film, and I know Sonia and Ingrid, and I'll be a little more involved this year. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. Very, also very focused, very talented, and what an incredible film festival that is. Yeah.
And how much it's grown over the years.
Yes.
So much
Yes.
respect for what they've done with
Yes.
that festival. And it was my first time going to it as someone that had a film in it.
Hmm.
And my God, it was just an incredible experience. They really rolled out the red carpet for everyone, just made everyone
Yeah,
just
she
feel
does.
like
She
a
does that. Yeah.
superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
No,
does that.
it was really well done. It was just such a delight and surprise to see you. Like I remember
Yeah.
going to it was the opening night movie, and the producer of the film, the other producer that basically he created the goddamn thing for my movie. Last minute he couldn't go. There was a hang up. I was like, oh my God, I have to,
Oh,
I'm going to this thing solo. Um, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'm outgoing, but at the same time, I'm still kind of shy.
right, right. It could be a
So
little awkward. Yeah.
yeah. So he was like texting me a bunch of people that were going to be there that he knows. He's like, that he's going to introduce me to, like, through text and whatnot. And then I see you. I'm like, oh my God, my shining angel
We
right
had a lot of
here.
fun.
And
We
we
had
had
a lot
so
of
much
fun. It was great.
fun. We had so
Yeah.
much fun. It was just such a delight. And yeah, I've kept in touch with Philip Ramos, as well. Like you were sitting next to him. It was such a cool experience. I love that festival. Now, for you, going back to you, with Living with Grandma, right? Your movie that got into quite a bit of festivals.
So I think, and I think it's like 30 to 40 film festivals that we have gotten in. The amount of awards that film has won is, I personally have won 8 Best Actress awards, but it has won Best Duo, Best Short Film, Best Director. She has won, I don't know how many Best Director. San Diego. The one that was, this one really blew my mind. It's the film festival. I have to, of course, always have to go to my IND, my Instagram page to remember what I've done. Crazy, just a crazy. Okay, so this one was Best Actress in a Short Film. It's called the World Film Festival in Cannes,
That's
and
awesome.
that started back uh, in
Ah, there it
April.
is.
Yeah,
There it
there it
is.
is. There it is. And then, I mean, last year was really quite a bit of a whirlwind. I was also at Tribeca with Toe because that got in.
Wow.
And I went, yeah. Good.
What was that experience like? You said, yeah, we've gone to
Un-
Tribeca obviously as like a
it was
supporters of
incredible.
movies, but now you have a movie in it. Like, what's that for a
It was
festival like
incredible.
that?
It was really incredible. I got to walk the red carpet, and I got interviewed, and it was a phenomenal experience. I mean, first of all, the story is, I think this is Women's Month, so I think everyone should go see it, and it's really about, someone who is down on her luck. It's a true story, down on her luck, has something happen. And instead of giving up where most people would, this woman, Amanda, kept fighting, she kept bucking the system. And it's a powerful story. And even the way it was shot, Stephanie Lang, they had 19 days to shoot this film. 19 days.
That's insane.
My backstory is that my husband had won a President's Club trip through his company, and we were going to that event in France, and there was no we were leaving, and I had out of the 19 days I had 3 days, and my manager had to go back and said she's only available for the, and I got it.
Wow, that's
Wow.
amazing. That's
And
amazing.
recently at the when it was playing last weekend at the Angelica Film Center.
Yes.
My husband came with me, and he told that story to Stephanie. I mean, he knew that we were shooting for 19 days, and out of the 19, I had three. That's a needle in the haystack, and I was so
Yeah.
grateful, so
Oh, that's
grateful.
amazing. And so you got to work opposite Rose Byrne, who is low key one of my favorite actresses. Not only I mean, she's just I think like sorry, I'm losing the track of what I'm saying because that's how much I love Rose Byrne. Just to
Mhm.
see her body of work and to see her nominated for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which I thought she was outstanding in. I think that's
Yeah,
awesome.
a
Uh,
tremendous amount. If you haven't seen also Toe, that's another powerhouse. And I hope I hope they consider her, this coming year for what she phenomenal, just phenomenal. And
Phenomenal.
Octavia Spencer. Um,
Another powerhouse. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
What was it like? I know you're talking about their powerhouses, but what was it like working with them at all? I mean, like we've all worked with like different levels of talent before. I personally haven't worked with opposite an Oscar winner or Oscar nominee.
Oh,
Um, do you get in your head at all before that? Like or like what's that experience
no, no,
like?
the same what we talked about at the beginning. It's
Yeah,
that being focused,
focus.
being present, not getting wrapped up in the minutia. I once worked with I I work with Josh Pice, who's very good. He has his own method, let's say, of working. And I had to do this is many years ago. I had to do a nude scene with Adam Pally, where my robe flies open, and I'm standing there, and I'm his best friend's mother. Obviously, it's a comedy, and I didn't know how to do it. And I said, how do I do this? And I mean, his whole method was, where are my feet right now? It really brings you back present in the moment. And if you're really doing your work, you're not thinking that, oh, she just won an Oscar. Oh, look, she won it. You're
Yeah,
just doing your work.
yeah.
And that was it. And I had a blast, and it was it wasn't a funny scene, but it turned into like a little bit of a funny scene. And and the director was so wonderful. She allowed me to improv a little bit, and go off the
Oh,
script.
that's the best. They
It
have
was
that
just
trust.
it really, it was great. It was great. It was really great.
And
I you know
you're so right about that because it's so easy to I guess kind of fall into the trap of like the of all the other BS that goes into it, right? Like
know
I
that you got
remember
hired for something. How can I
right,
be of service here? What am I here for? I'm here to, who am
exactly.
I playing? Know the whole backstory. Even that's what I do also, is that I do a lot of
Yeah.
work. Who am I? Where is this? All that stuff, that I'm just not sitting there, you know, like a parrot saying lines,
Exactly, exactly.
I have a whole backstory and just to be present again.
I remember during Law and Order, um, it was a great experience filming with them, et cetera,
Hmm.
right? And but I remember like there was one point, there was a small millisecond, right? Like in between takes, right? When they're turning around, et cetera.
Sure.
And a thought went to my head like, hey, millions of people are going to see this. And like, oh,
I
whoa, let,
yeah,
let,
yeah,
let's
true.
put that voice away.
Yeah,
You shut your mouth
right.
over there. You stay in the corner. We don't talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And you go
yeah,
back to doing
yeah,
the work.
yeah.
I think it's only afterwards. I remember another thing I did with Angela Bassett. I had a dancing scene with Angela Bassett, and I was so in the
I
moment.
love her. I love
Freaking amazing.
her.
Oh, yeah, I did work with someone that's not paid actually. So there we go. Angela Bassett. So I remember we had a dancing scene with her, et cetera. It was lovely, amazing human being. It was only afterwards when the rap was like, that just happened. That's a cool thing that I just did. Is that the same for you? Like, is it afterwards you're just like, oh wow, that was a cool experience right there. I just had that.
Absolutely. And in my moments of doubt, that, am I going to work again? I haven't booked that one. I haven't booked that. I go back to just calm down.
Yeah, exactly.
Just,
Just calm
just
down.
calm down. Just calm down. This is, it's like the ocean. It comes in waves. It comes, it goes, it ebbs, it flows. And know there'll be something else. And, not to, I've been doing this a long time. Like I
Okay.
said, it's the third act I look at it as my third act. And, and and my friend David Dean Potrell, who is fabulous, get him on here. He said, and it's the best act. Third
Love
act is the
that.
best. Yes, he's
So
great. He's great.
let's dive into that, right? That aspect of it, because as I said, you're absolutely crushing it right now in a time when you probably shouldn't. I'm not saying about you specifically, but like people in general, like, it's wild out there right now. I don't know if you've read the news, but I commend you. I love what you're doing. I'm excited for you when I see that how well you're doing. How long ago did you start? How long have you been in this journey so far?
I knew this when I was 3 that I wanted to do this. So I went to a drama school. I went to a neighborhood playhouse. I went to the American Academy on Saturdays. I went to Stage Door Manor.
Your
Went
whole
to
life.
Syracuse, got a BFA, came out, floundered somewhat. And then in my 30s more, I started to pound the pavement.
Oh
And
wow.
one of the first major yeses that I got was Sidney Lumet. It was
Wow.
through Backstage.
Oh
We didn't
wow.
have cell phones. It was
Yeah.
through Backstage, and there was an open call. I was cater waitering at the time. There were two jobs, a breakfast and a lunch, or a lunch and a dinner. And this was at the schoolroom on the Upper West Side. I showed up. There were 600 people. I didn't think I would get in. I get to the auditorium. I look at my watch. I then went to some PA and said, I got to leave my picture and resume because I have a job to go to. Somebody was watching and they said, do you have enough time to just audition for this one person? That was Billy Hopkins, who I auditioned for. And he wrote something on my picture and resume. They sent it to someone else. That person called me. They said, can you come in? We'll give you sides. They did. And then I went to Sidney Lumet's office, and it
Wow.
was on 54th Street, across the street from studio. And I remember going in, and he said to me, and there were other people in the room, and he said, "Oh, I have another role for you." And I was like, "But I worked on this." And he was like, "Let me explain." And I said, "Well, who am I reading with?" I mean, I had such chutzpah. And he said, "You're reading with me. Is that okay?" I said, "All right." I read with him, and he turned around and he went, "You hired." I had no agent, no nothing. I went to the bathroom. I cried. I was just so overwhelmed. And in the elevator, there'll always be a naysayer. In the elevator, I come down, and the guy who hooks up the elevator, who runs the elevator, said, "Did you sign a contract?"
Mm.
So I was like, I probably didn't get it. And, my brother was like, "Rest that's why he's the elevator guy." And I booked it, and it was called Night Falls on Manhattan. It was my first, big yes, and it was with Andy Garcia, my scene. And
Wow.
then I would kind of knock on Sidney's door asking for work, and I worked with him for on quite a few projects after that. I worked on a television show. I worked on another feature film that he, um, that he did, and it was like 10 years. I got an agent because of that. I just never stopped knocking on doors, and I still do. I just it's different. I mean, now, if you're coming into the business, it's so much different. We didn't have emails, we didn't have cell phones, I would send out postcards every month,
I still have some
we,
postcards left over, by the
you know,
way.
I did that, and one foot in front of the other. But my biggest yes was Sidney Lumet, and I owe my career to him because he said yes. And
That's
that's, just you get a lot of no's, but you get, a yes.
and
And
you never forget your first yes.
oh,
I feel like you're always
right.
eternally grateful
Grateful.
for that first
Yes.
yes, for whoever said
Yes.
that first yes,
Right.
and you never forget who they are.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. That's beautiful, and like I noticed something that still stays true to today. I mean, you're a hustler. That's in your DNA. It seems like I got that within like my first 5 seconds of meeting you. I was like, oh, I dig this. I dig this person. Um,
In
and
a genuine way. I'm not, that's the way, I feel, that I'm authentic. I'm genuine. I'm not going to
yeah,
like, oh, let's go over there because so and so is good.
no, 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 no. I
Yeah.
don't mean it like that
Yeah.
at all. I mean, like, hustle, like you're not afraid to put in the work, to put yourself out there and meet people and just you're always yourself, right? And like, yeah, I definitely see the people just like handing out cards, these things, and
Right.
then that's it. Like, we all seen those people, but you do it in such a authentic and truthful way,
Thank you.
and obviously because you wouldn't have been doing this for so long if you weren't making those genuine connections. I feel like one of the biggest like myths I think in this industry is that like we're all competing against each other, that it's just like me versus everyone else. But no, I mean I guess maybe in a way we're competing for certain roles, but at the end of the day it's a community and we all rely on each other.
I feel I'm not in competition with anyone because I
Right.
feel that if whatever job is supposed to be mine will be mine, whatever job is supposed to be yours or someone else, it's going to be, it's not this cutting edge. If they want Bonnie Rose, they have me. They might want, recently I was up for something and it went a different way. And okay. And I
Yeah.
wish the best of luck. I was like,
Right.
not my
I
job. Not,
I
not
have
my job. That's
never
all. Yeah.
I have never ever gotten bitter at another person for getting a
Right.
roll over me. Like it's like, okay, yeah, all
Yeah.
right, that's
Not my
yours.
job. Hmm.
That's yours.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because there's just so much like because I feel like once you go down that road, there's no coming back,
Well,
right?
it's petty and it's shallow and it's not who it's
And
there's
that's who you
really there's
become.
no God in there. There's it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's not my path and not my monkey, not my circus.
I love it. So you talk about your third act being the best act here,
Mm.
and again, you can check out Bonnie Rose on Instagram and our IMDb. You'll see yourself like, oh my God, this girl is crushing right now. Mark is not lying. Why do you think that is now? Like, why do you think that is the case now? And by all means, tell us what you're doing. What is your secret?
What do I say? Um, I love the people that I'm working with. I have managers that I really, really like and I enjoy, and the feeling is mutual. Same thing with my commercial agent, feeling very mutual. Um, I love what I do and I love what I get to do, and I feel blessed that I get to do it, and it is really a gift. And that's the way I look at my life, that it is a gift. And I, auditioning. I work with someone that's wonderful. The world changed during the pandemic. The whole
Oh, did
world
it
changed.
ever?
Okay. And either you changed with it or you were left behind,
Yes,
you know.
agreed.
And so it's different today. So either you learn new skills or you get left behind. And self-taping came into play. And I was like, okay. And I was lucky. I found someone, a professional who was wonderful, who was a coach, who has his own studio. It's called Open Studios. And I started working with him. It's got to be over 5, 6 years ago. And, you get the equipment that you need and you do what you need to do. And you just, I mean, last year was just crazy. I was also in My Kind of People, Joe Pagozzi, wonderful, wonderful young director who won different awards under the Russo brothers. And we were in dances with films out in Hollywood. And my husband and I were like, let's go. Because I never know if I'm going to get to this place again. So just let's take it all in. And
Mm.
we flew to Hollywood and we stayed at the Roosevelt Hotel and we were at the Chinese theater and it was such an amazing experience. There I was, just relaxing for a couple of minutes at the pool, and I get an audition. We brought my computer, we brought everything, and we were in a nice room. I set it up, I texted, he said, great, let's go now. I get up from the pool, I go upstairs to the room, I do the audition. I self tape it, and we're done.
Wow.
You
Wow.
know, now,
Love that.
and those are the kind of things that okay, no problem. Let's go. That's it. Let's go. You bring the computer, you bring you this, you do it up, and you do it. Or you don't, and you get those results. I could sit on the couch and do nothing, and I get to do this. And I'm grateful. And I'm really grateful. And at that point, I had a public relations person, and they also texted me and they said, can you do an interview? She has today in a half an hour. Great, no problem. Put on a shirt, put a little lip gloss on, good to
Right.
go. That was from the Hollywood Times, Valerie Milano, who was wonderful, and their sister magazine is called Aspiring Magazine, and because I did that interview, I got into Aspiring Magazine.
Nice. Love that. So like you're always ready. Yeah, you're just always ready to go.
Well, it's that kind of a business.
It
We don't
is.
work 9 to 5.
No.
Back in the day, but there is no back in the day. It is no back in the day.
No,
So
back in the
either
day is over.
you
You can't even compare like, 2016 even
right,
just to
no,
what is now.
absolutely not, no. And either you're ready and you're ready to go, or you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean that's really what it is. And the opportunities they get fewer and fewer. So like, you definitely have to pounce on it. Hell, I mean, I'm going away in a couple of days myself on vacation and I just got an audition now. I'm just like, oh, yep, gotta do it. Gotta do it.
Right,
Gotta do your thing.
right,
Like,
right. Oh, well, you know that you book a vacation and right away the auditions will come in or something,
exactly.
right?
Hell, I booked Blacklist. It was like the day after my daughter was born. It
Oh,
was
wow.
just like really cutting it very close there. My daughter had great timing. Thank God for that. But I remember like that
Good
next
luck.
morning, I
Love
was in the
that.
makeup chair. Like everyone's like, "Oh, how was your weekend?" I said, "Oh, like
I just
I
had a baby.
yeah." And it was like, "What are you doing here?" It's like I've auditioned for this 75 times. I'm not missing this.
Right. That's funny. That's funny.
But that's how the way the industry is. It's nuts. But okay, so we talked about like, your little secret there. I mean, I could tell how much you love this just by talking about it. You just see, like, you could have this on mute, and I don't suggest you do, listeners. But if you were to watch Bonnie's eyes, you could see your eyes, how much they shine when you talk about
Oh,
this industry. The passion you have, it's undeniable, right? Was there any certain point, because I have reached a milestone age myself right now, and I was literally told by some professional that like I'm at that age where I'm not going to be considered. Uh, I may not be considered for that next level right now, which I found interesting. Has anyone said anything about age to you? Have you felt any point when you hit a milestone age as you got older in this business, like, oh man, I don't know how much more I have left. Did you have any doubt at all?
No, I'll probably be doing this till the day I die. I'll be
Fucking
like,
love it.
I think that's really, really, the way, because I love it, and it, like I said, it's a passion, and it's something that, um, I just, but I also know what's important too. What's important with my family, my nieces. There are certain things that are, really important, and taking time away and enjoying life. It's not just the business, but enjoying life. Your daughter is born, or you have certain milestones in your life. My very best friend, her daughter is engaged, and I am so looking forward to that wedding. I will be booking myself out. Certain
Let it
things,
be known. Let it be known.
yeah, there are certain things that are just too important. You don't want to be on
Right.
your deathbed going, I should have done an extra Law and Order.
Right,
No,
right.
Law and Order is great. I'm
No,
not
Law and Order is great. Hey, I
Dr.
mean,
Dick Wolf.
it was fantastic being a part of that show. Definitely a milestone moment. But I was talking about like, like for example, I turned 40, right? Oh, there it is. Mark's 40. So,
Very
but
young. Got a long, young,
so
very young.
see, it's interesting because I was told now, recently by someone that, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be much harder for me to level up, right? In the industry right now, being my age, where I'm at in my career, and it's just like that's interesting. Um, I say, like, that's what I was basically asking. Has anyone ever said that to you once you hit like a milestone age, like 40 or whatever, during your path here, that made you feel like or can I do this? Made you question yourself about this, or did it never matter to you? Do you just do it because hey, if I'm on a set, I'm good. I love it that much.
We were talking about that. You got to listen to your inner voice. You got to listen to what works for you and not what somebody else is feeding you,
Mhm.
because Doris Roberts, who I adored and
Oh,
loved, okay?
yes.
She got her best job, and I'm not comparing myself by any means. She got her best job at the age of 70 in
Damn right.
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Damn right. Yeah.
Okay. I grew up, in a time where there were the mothers-in-laws. I love that show. And Bewitched,
Oh,
Carol Burnett. I grew up on that.
Carol.
I grew up on those sitcoms. I love them. I love television. Love it. Love feature films, love theater, but really love television. And I don't, they need people of all ages, not just 25-year-olds. You need the aunt and the uncle and the grandpa and the all different types of people to make, a reality. Being real under imaginary circumstances.
Yeah.
So I don't give myself, as a matter of fact, it was much harder for me in my 20s.
Mm.
It was much harder for me in my 20s. I was nowhere. I didn't start really until I was in my 30s.
Yeah, I didn't start really professionally until I was 29.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. And there are people that are huge in their 20s and 30s. And then, so,
we've all seen that 90s trend on Instagram. You're right. It's like,
it's just, I'm not, I listen to my own voice, that your inner voice of what's, people ask me, would I do anything else? I said, I did lots of jobs. I did trade shows. I worked, cater waitering. I did work for a jewelry designer. Lots of different things until, you know, I started to work. And I don't see, I don't see that. And I don't see that with you, Mark, either. So I'm not sure
oh, thank
who
you.
told you really.
I won't to mention any names. It was
No, please
someone that's
don't
like
not,
respectable in this industry, and I was like, it was shocking to hear. But also,
right.
like, I looked at where this person's coming from and why they said what they said, and I was like,
That
okay,
was that person's opinion. That's all.
yeah, exactly. And I've seen it, it did have me freak out when I was right before I turned 40. I was kind of getting a panic attack about it because it just not for anything else other than acting. And it's like, oh my God, like, I'm nowhere near where I expected to be. Yeah, I've done some cool things, et cetera, but like, I'm the type of person, Bonnie, that I always want more, right? And,
Sure,
and
of
it
course.
does, it takes my wife, it takes my mom, it takes other people to tell me, like, hey man, you've done some cool stuff. Like, why you be grateful for stuff you've done? It's like, yeah, I am. And I truly am. But I can't help but like look ahead, right? To just see the whole city where I want to go, right? And I was like, am I losing opportunities? Are my best days behind me? But then I look at Pedro Pascal. I look at Viola Davis. I look at like Morgan Freeman. There's so many people, and I just only rattled off three, but there's so many people that start off that had the breakout role even later on in life. Doris Roberts, as you just mentioned, you're right. Her best role, hands down.
I mean, that show, I watch it at night because it makes me laugh. I don't watch the news. And I watch that show because it makes me, I mean, it was really, that was I mean, everybody on that show was just phenomenal.
Oh,
And
the chemistry, yeah.
yeah. And, if she would have said, oh, I can't, and she still went to class, acting class, and she was still in a master's class. And I just really she said she talked about two types of actors, ones that want to be celebrities and one that just want to work. You just want
Yeah.
to do work, and it could be on any stage. It could be on a small stage, a big, last year I did a lot of short films that I loved. One is called Double Happiness, which is hopefully going to be made into a feature. Sherry Albert, a wonderful, wonderful, amazing director and writer, very talented. That was so funny, and that was great to do. And so if you pigeons, oh, I won't do this, oh, I won't do that, then what will you do?
Right. Right.
I'm
I mean,
just looking, I'm just grateful, and I jump at opportunities,
there are
for the
very
most
few
part.
instances where I've said no, where you look at what's going on, and I go, I think I'll pass on that one. But I can count on my hands how many times I've said that. It's on my one hand I could count. But usually it's yes, yes, I
Right.
will. Because you're right, you never know who you're going to meet on these sets. Like, and it's something just about being on a set, man. Just at the end of the day, because I will admit, I think at one point when I got into this professionally, right? Of course, I started out because I love acting, right? I love the craft. But I will admit, I think, and I don't know if you can relate to this or another listener could relate to this. It's like there has been a certain point where I just started thinking more business-like. And I think you kind of have to in a way, but where you just
Yes.
kind of got a little too wrapped up in it, right?
Mhm.
About like, am I making the right decisions here from my career, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, And honestly, I think it really comes down to, hey man, you love us at the end of the day, right? It should really be about that because no one got into this for the money, right? Because
But you
it's
did, but you did say something, and if I may interrupt, you talked
yeah,
about business. There is a business, as I said to you about, when COVID hit, it's self-taping, it's this, it's that. That's the business, and being prepared.
yeah,
That's the business. So you're in LA. Did you bring a computer? Did you bring this? Did you bring that? Not that big of a deal. Are you
not a big deal.
prepared?
But yes, I think never turn off the business brain, but there is such a thing as think of it too much as a business. There's also such a thing as think of too much as an artist too, where you forget the business. I
Well,
think
there's a
there's just
balance. Yes, a yin
there's a
and a yang. Yeah.
fine line that you definitely have to walk. And but I think at the end of the day, it's so important to never lose sight of like why you started to begin with. And I think 9 times out of 10 for people, it's because they love doing this. They love
Mm.
acting, they love filmmaking, they love writing, they love creating. That's why we got into this to begin with. And I think talking to you, It's seeing you're passionate about it. It was a good reminder of that.
Mm.
Because I don't, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I get the sense you never lost that.
Thanks. I just kept putting one foot in front of the other,
Mhm.
and you just keep one foot in front of the other, and just I also show up for people when they're working, and support other people when they're working, if they're in a show, they're in a film, they're in something.
Yeah.
Or simple nowadays, you could support people on Instagram, on social media. So simple.
Yeah. Simple like, simple comment,
Simple,
simple
right.
share.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To send out that good energy, to send out that, you know, that we're all in it together. It's not a competition.
No, no, no. It's a community, and that's what I keep saying. And that's one of the biggest things that I love about this is just the people on set. And it's not even just actors. There's so many people that are lovely in the crew, the directors, the cinematographers, just like producers. Some execs. I'm joking. But hell, honestly, one of my best friends in this industry I made is my manager, and we still call each other Football Sunday. It's just such a beautiful relationship to have. It's the friendships in this that go a long way. But Bonnie, I could talk about this all day with you. You are a delight and you are inspiration, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I look at what you're doing. You're a beacon of hope for me, and I think to anyone else that follows your journey. What do you have next?
Well, oh, what's coming up next is Roommates. Adam Sandler. Wonderful, funny. I have a role in it. I was so grateful, just so grateful. It was great to work on it. His daughter is absolutely a delight, so talented. It was just talent. It was just great. It was just a wonderful experience, and I believe that comes out April 17th.
Oh,
And I was on the hunting party, a
yes.
couple of weeks ago. That's streaming. That was season 2, episode 6, called Lou Kaplan. That was a great experience, really, really great. And that's streaming. And Toe is out. That's in theaters now. So that's what's going on.
Toe with the great Rose Byrne and the great Bonnie Rose. I look forward to seeing it. Girl, thank you so much. Let's definitely keep in touch.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
What a wonderful human being. I love Bonnie, her fire, her passion, her tenacity, her chutzpah. She dropped that word before, and I think that's probably the best word to describe for her. She's got a chutzpah, and that's exactly what you need in this industry. She's going strong. She's in her third act, and she said it's her best act, and there's no denying that. For me, I talked about turning 40, like the panic attack that I had going into it. Just wondering, where do I fit in this crazy industry anymore? But obviously, things are still going for me. I'm involved in a couple films coming up. I just got an audition earlier today. So things are still happening, but again, I just you can't help but wonder that sometimes once you hit that age, as you get older. But to see Bonnie still doing her thing, still see her going strong, it gives me hope, and hopefully it gives you hope as well. And that's what we're about here on Beyond the Take right now, right? Hey, things aren't great right now in the world. The world is on fire in the industry, in the real world, but you still need to keep hope alive. You need to keep your dreams alive. You need to keep going. And there are people out there doing the damn thing, and so can you. And so can I. I could always do more. But thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you like, share, subscribe. Keep showing the love. Keep aspiring to aspire. Much love, everyone.